Your presence speaks long before your words do. It is a force that can influence the energy in any room, and often people feel it before they even see or hear you. This unseen power stems from the way you carry yourself, the confidence you exude, and the way you interact with the world. It's about your body language, your mindset, and even the way you command your space. When you walk into a room, people sense your energy, whether it's calm and composed or intense and commanding. This power, although invisible, is palpable. Your presence reflects who you are at your core. It shows whether you are comfortable in your skin, secure in your abilities, and at peace with your purpose. When you walk into a room with your head held high, back straight, and a sense of inner peace, people take notice. They may not consciously know why, but they feel something different. This difference is your power. It's not about being loud or dominating the conversation. It's about how your energy influences those around you. When you are centered, confident, and authentic, your presence speaks volumes. People are drawn to individuals who know who they are and are unapologetic about it. When you are clear about your values, goals, and direction, you radiate a magnetic energy. This energy can make others feel comfortable, inspired, or even intimidated. The power of your presence can shift dynamics in any setting, whether it's a boardroom, social gathering, or one-on-one interaction. It's not just what you say, it's how you make others feel in your presence. Your body language, eye contact, and even your silence can have a profound impact. Often people react to your presence based on their own insecurities or fears. When you walk confidently and stand tall in your truth, it can unsettle those who aren't as secure in themselves. They may perceive your strength as a threat, not because you've done anything wrong, but because your presence reminds them of their own unfulfilled potential. It can create discomfort in people who have yet to discover their power. Your confidence, self-assuredness, and authenticity can trigger insecurities in others, making them question their worth. The power of your presence is not just about how others perceive you, but also about how you perceive yourself. It starts with the relationship you have with yourself. Do you believe in your worth? Do you recognize your strengths and talents? When you acknowledge your own power, you begin to carry yourself differently. You don't shrink to fit in, nor do you feel the need to prove yourself constantly. You simply exist in your truth, and that truth is powerful. This power is not something that can be faked or forced. People can sense authenticity. If you are putting on a front, it will eventually crack. True presence comes from being aligned with your core values and being comfortable in your skin. When you are genuine, people gravitate towards you. They trust you, not just because of your words, but because your energy matches your intentions. There is a coherence between who you are and how you show up in the world, and that alignment is what creates the power in your presence. It's important to understand that this power does not have to be loud. You don't need to be the center of attention to have a powerful presence. In fact, some of the most influential people are those who speak the least. Their silence is not weakness, but strength. It's in the stillness that their energy commands attention. They don't need to fill the space with words because their presence alone speaks volumes. There is a quiet confidence that radiates from within, and it's this calm assurance that often leaves the strongest impression. Your presence also carries the power to uplift others. When you are confident and secure in who you are, you give others permission to do the same. Your energy creates a safe space for others to step into their greatness. It's as if your presence gives them the courage to be more authentic, more themselves. People feel empowered in your company because you model what it looks like to be fully self-expressed and comfortable in your own skin. Your presence becomes a source of inspiration, showing others that it's possible to live with confidence and purpose. However, the power of your presence can also intimidate those who are not yet ready to step into their own power. People who are threatened by your confidence may try to diminish you. They may criticize, gossip, or attempt to undermine your success. But remember, this says more about them than it does about you. Their reaction is a reflection of their insecurities, not a measure of your worth. When you stand in your truth, you will inevitably stir emotions in others. And sometimes that means confronting their fears. In these moments, it's important to remain grounded in who you are. Don't shrink to make others feel comfortable. Your power isn't something to apologize for, something to embrace. The world needs more people who are willing to step into their greatness, to be a light in the darkness, and to inspire others by simply being themselves. Your presence is a gift, not just to you, but to those around you. It can challenge, inspire, and elevate others in ways you may not even realize. So own your power. Walk with confidence, speak with intention, and let your energy speak before your words ever do. Your presence is your legacy, the unspoken influence that remains long after you've left the room. It's the way people will remember you, not just for what you said or did, but for how you made them feel. In every moment, you have the power to leave a lasting impact, simply by being fully and unapologetically yourself. People have a natural tendency to fear what they don't understand. This fear often stems from uncertainty and a lack of knowledge about something unfamiliar or different from what they know. It's a deeply ingrained human response tied to our instincts for survival. When confronted with the unknown, people tend to feel threatened or uncomfortable because they don't know how to respond or what to expect. Whether it's a new idea, a different culture, or an unfamiliar situation, the unknown can trigger fear and insecurity, leading to various reactions, including avoidance, hostility, or prejudice. One of the reasons people fear what they don't understand is that the unknown disrupts their sense of control. Human beings are wired to seek control over their environments and situations. When we are in control, we feel safe and secure. However, when faced with something new or different, that sense of control diminishes, leading to feelings of vulnerability. This is why many people resist change or are hesitant to explore new perspectives. They prefer to stay within their comfort zones where they feel secure and know what to expect. The unfamiliar, on the other hand, can seem like a threat to their safety and security. This fear of the unknown can manifest in many ways. It can be seen in how people react to individuals from different backgrounds, cultures, or beliefs. It can also show up in how people respond to new ideas, innovations, or changes in society. When faced with something different, people often become defensive or skeptical. They might reject or criticize it, not because it is inherently bad, but because they don't understand it. This lack of understanding creates a barrier, preventing them from being open to new experiences or perspectives. Fear can also lead to negative behaviors such as stereotyping, prejudice, and discrimination. When people don't understand something, they often rely on assumptions or preconceived notions to fill in the gaps. These assumptions are usually based on fear, ignorance, or misinformation, which can lead to unfair judgments and treatment of others. For example, people may fear individuals from a different culture or background simply because they are unfamiliar with their customs or traditions. Instead of seeking to understand, they may label or judge them based on stereotypes, perpetuating division and misunderstanding. On a personal level, fear of the unknown can hold people back from achieving their potential. When individuals are faced with a new challenge or opportunity, their first instinct might be to hesitate or avoid it. The uncertainty of the outcome creates anxiety, leading them to stick with what is familiar, even if it means missing out on growth or success. This fear can prevent people from taking risks, stepping outside their comfort zones, or trying new things. As a result, they limit their own opportunities for learning and development. However, it's important to recognize that fear of the unknown is a natural response, and overcoming it requires effort and intentionality. The key to overcoming this fear lies in understanding and education. When people take the time to learn about what they fear, whether it's a new idea, a different culture, or an unfamiliar situation, that fear diminishes. Knowledge replaces uncertainty, and understanding replaces fear. Instead of seeing the unknown as a threat, people can begin to see it as an opportunity for growth and learning. Empathy is another powerful tool for overcoming the fear of the unknown. By putting ourselves in someone else's shoes and seeking to understand their experiences, we can break down barriers of fear and ignorance. Empathy allows us to connect with others on a deeper level, seeing them as individuals with their own stories, struggles, and perspectives. This connection fosters understanding and compassion, reducing the fear that often arises from differences. When we approach others with empathy and an open mind, we can begin to bridge the gaps that divide us. It's also essential to recognize that growth and progress often come from stepping into the unknown. Some of the most significant advancements in human history have come from individuals who were willing to face the unknown and challenge the status quo. They embraced uncertainty, took risks, and explored new possibilities. While the unknown can be intimidating, it can also be a source of innovation, creativity, and discovery. By confronting our fear of the unknown, we open ourselves up to new opportunities and experiences that can lead to personal and collective growth. Additionally, when people fear what they don't understand, they are often missing out on the richness and diversity of the world. The world is vast and filled with different cultures, ideas, and perspectives. Instead of fearing these differences, we should celebrate them. Every culture, belief system, or new idea has something valuable to offer. When we approach the unknown with curiosity instead of fear, we open ourselves to a wealth of knowledge, experiences, and connections that can enrich our lives. At the same time, it's important to acknowledge that fear is not always irrational. Sometimes the unknown does present real risks, and it's natural to feel apprehensive in those situations. However, the key is not to let fear paralyze us. Instead, we should use it as a guide to prepare, learn, and approach the unknown with caution, but also with courage. Fear can be a useful tool when it helps us assess risks and make informed decisions, but it should not stop us from moving forward or embracing change. Ultimately, overcoming the fear of what we don't understand requires a shift in mindset. Instead of seeing the unknown as a threat, we can choose to see it as an opportunity for growth, learning, and connection. It requires us to be open, curious, and willing to challenge our assumptions. When we do this, we break free from the limitations of fear and open ourselves to the endless possibilities that the world has to offer. In conclusion, people fear what they don't understand because it disrupts their sense of control and creates uncertainty. However, by seeking understanding, practicing empathy, and embracing the unknown with curiosity and courage, we can overcome this fear. In doing so, we not only enrich our own lives, but also contribute to a more inclusive, connected, and compassionate world. When you walk into a room with your head held high, a calm demeanor, and a strong sense of purpose, you naturally exude confidence. That energy is unmistakable, and people notice it. However, not everyone will respond positively to it. While many may admire and respect your self-assuredness, others may feel uncomfortable, threatened, or insecure in its presence. These feelings don't stem from anything you're doing wrong, but rather from their own insecurities being reflected back at them. Your confidence in many ways serves as a mirror. When people who are uncertain or uncomfortable with themselves encounter someone who is grounded and self-assured, it forces them to confront the areas in their own lives where they feel inadequate. This confrontation, though unspoken, can be uncomfortable, leading to feelings of jealousy, resentment, or even hostility. The very qualities you've worked hard to develop, self-assurance, clarity of purpose, and inner strength, become a reminder to others of what they lack or what they have yet to achieve. It's important to remember that this dynamic has nothing to do with you personally. It's about them and their internal struggles. Insecure individuals may see your confidence as a threat because it highlights the areas where they feel they are falling short. This can make them feel exposed or inferior, even though you're not intentionally trying to make them feel that way. Instead of acknowledging their insecurities and working on them, they may project those feelings outward, blaming you for their discomfort. In many cases, this reaction manifests as subtle or overt attempts to undermine your confidence. People might make sarcastic remarks, question your abilities, or downplay your achievements in an effort to bring you down to their level. These behaviors stem from their desire to protect their fragile egos. By attempting to diminish your confidence, they're trying to reassert their sense of control and feel better about themselves. They may not even be consciously aware of what they're doing, but their actions are driven by their own unresolved insecurities. This is why it's essential to remain steadfast in your confidence and not allow their negativity to shake your sense of self-worth. Confidence is a deeply personal and internal state. It's not about arrogance or believing that you're better than others. It's about having a healthy understanding of your own value and capabilities. When others try to undermine that, it's critical to recognize that their actions are a reflection of their insecurities, not a reflection of your worth. Insecure individuals often have a difficult time accepting that others can be confident without it being a direct threat to them. They may interpret your self-assurance as arrogance or assume that you're trying to outshine them. This belief is rooted in their own fear of inadequacy, and they project that onto you. The more secure you are in yourself, the less likely you are to be affected by these projections. You understand that your confidence is not a threat to anyone else's value, and you don't need to diminish yourself to make others feel more comfortable. There's a common saying that hurt people, those who are hurting, struggling with their own insecurities, or feeling lost in their lives may lash out at those who seem to have it together. Your confidence is a target because it's something they want for themselves but don't know how to achieve. Instead of being inspired by your example, they may choose to tear you down in an effort to protect their own self-image. It's not fair, but it's a reality you may face when you carry yourself with self-assurance. What's crucial in these moments is how you respond. It's easy to become defensive or let their negativity get to you, but that only serves to give away your power. Instead, practice compassion, not just for yourself, but for them as well. Understand that their reactions are born out of their pain and insecurity. By showing empathy, you not only rise above the situation, but you also demonstrate emotional intelligence, which is another hallmark of true confidence. Maintaining your confidence in the face of insecurity and criticism requires emotional resilience. It's about staying grounded in who you are, regardless of external validation or criticism. When you're confident, you don't need constant approval from others to feel good about yourself. You know your worth, and that knowledge doesn't waver just because someone else feels threatened by it. It's also important to surround yourself with people who support and uplift you. Confidence can be contagious, and when you're around others who share your self-assuredness, it reinforces your own. These are the people who won't feel threatened by your success or inner strength. Instead, they'll celebrate it and encourage you to continue growing. At the same time, they'll challenge you in healthy ways, helping you to stay humble and grounded while still pushing you to reach your highest potential. Recognize that the journey to confidence is ongoing. It's not a destination you arrive at and stay forever. There will be times when you doubt yourself or feel insecure, and that's okay. What matters is that you keep moving forward, even when faced with negativity or criticism from others. Confidence isn't about being perfect. It's about knowing that you can handle whatever life throws your way. In the end, your confidence is your greatest asset. It's the result of years of personal growth, self-reflection, and perseverance. It's something you've earned through your experiences, challenges, and triumphs. Don't let anyone take that away from you. Instead, see their reactions for what they are, a reflection of their own struggles, and continue to walk your path with your head held high. The more you embrace your confidence, the less power others will have to make you feel small. By staying true to yourself and your inner strength, you will continue to grow, evolve, and inspire those around you. And while not everyone will respond positively to your confidence, the people who matter most will recognize and respect the value you bring to the world. So keep shining, keep believing in yourself, and remember that your confidence is not just a reflection of your own greatness, but also an invitation for others to rise to their full potential. When we talk about living authentically and embracing who we truly are, one of the biggest challenges we face is the pressure to shrink ourselves to fit the comfort of others. Whether it's in professional environments, social circles, or even within our families, there's often an unspoken expectation to conform, to dial down our uniqueness, or to minimize our strengths in order to avoid making others feel uncomfortable. But shrinking yourself to fit someone else's comfort zone is not only a disservice to your own potential, but it also reinforces a cycle of inauthenticity that can hold you back in countless ways. Shrinking yourself can take many forms. It might mean downplaying your achievements so that others don't feel envious or uncomfortable. It might mean hiding your true feelings and opinions in conversations to avoid conflict or backlash. It could be staying quiet when you know you have something valuable to contribute, simply because you're afraid of how others might perceive your confidence or knowledge. All of these actions chip away at your sense of self-worth and authenticity, pushing you to become someone you're not in order to keep others at ease. The first step in breaking this cycle is recognizing that you don't owe anyone your diminished version. You don't need to make yourself smaller to protect someone else's ego or comfort. Each time you diminish who you are, you're not just dimming your own light, you're also denying the world your full potential. You have every right to take up space, to voice your opinions, and to stand in the fullness of your identity. Authenticity isn't about being aggressive or dominating others, but it's about being unapologetically you. It's about refusing to sacrifice your essence for the sake of others' insecurities. This tendency to shrink is often driven by fear of rejection, fear of being misunderstood, or fear of standing out. Many of us are conditioned from an early age to believe that fitting in is the key to success and happiness. We're told to follow the crowd, to avoid causing waves, and to do whatever it takes to belong. But the truth is, real fulfillment comes from embracing our individuality, not suppressing it. When you embrace your authentic self, you naturally attract people and opportunities that are aligned with who you truly are. And while that may mean losing people who can't handle your growth or success, it's important to remember that those people were never meant to be part of your journey in the first place. It's essential to surround yourself with people who encourage you to be your true self, people who celebrate your uniqueness, who are not threatened by your success, and who push you to grow even further. When you're in environments that encourage authenticity, you'll notice a significant shift in your confidence and your overall sense of well-being. You no longer feel the need to constantly censor yourself or walk on eggshells to make others comfortable. Instead, you're free to be exactly who you are, unapologetically. However, this shift doesn't come without challenges. There will always be people who are uncomfortable with your authenticity because it forces them to confront their own insecurities. When they see you confidently embracing your strengths, they might feel exposed or inadequate. They may even try to bring you down to their level by criticizing or undermining you. But it's important to remember that their discomfort is not your problem. Their reactions have more to do with their own fears and limitations than with anything you're doing wrong. In those moments, you have a choice. You can either shrink to fit their comfort, or you can continue to stand tall in your truth. Shrinking might make things easier in the short term, but in the long run, it only leads to frustration, resentment, and a sense of unfulfillment. Staying true to yourself, on the other hand, might be uncomfortable in the moment, but it leads to a deeper sense of freedom and empowerment. When you refuse to shrink, you set a powerful example for others. You show them that it's possible to be both confident and humble, to succeed without needing to make others feel small. You demonstrate that true strength comes from authenticity, not from conforming to other people's expectations. And most importantly, you give others permission to do the same. By embracing your uniqueness, you encourage those around you to step into their own power and live authentically as well. It's also worth noting that standing in your authenticity doesn't mean you won't face resistance. In fact, the more you grow and the more you step into your true self, the more likely you are to encounter people who try to pull you back down. But this is a natural part of the process. Growth often makes others uncomfortable because it reminds them of their own stagnation. It highlights the areas in their lives where they are still playing small, and that can be a difficult pill to swallow. But don't let their discomfort deter you from your path. You didn't come into this world to live according to someone else's limitations. You are here to fulfill your own unique purpose, and that requires courage, self-awareness, and an unwavering commitment to your truth. The more you embrace who you are, the more you'll inspire others to do the same, even if they're not ready to admit it yet. Ultimately, the goal is not to fit in, but to stand out. It's not about making everyone else comfortable. It's about finding comfort within yourself, regardless of external validation or approval. The right people, those who truly appreciate and value you, will never ask you to shrink. They'll encourage you to shine even brighter, and they'll celebrate your growth every step of the way. So don't shrink to fit their comfort. Take up space. Own your strengths. Speak your truth even when it feels uncomfortable. Because when you fully embrace who you are, you open the door to a life of freedom, fulfillment, and authentic success. Let your presence be felt, not diminished. True power is not loud, boastful, or attention-seeking. It doesn't need to announce itself because it exists in a state of quiet confidence. It's steady, unwavering, and rooted in self-awareness and self-control. The loudest voices in the room often have the least to say, and true power knows this. It doesn't rely on outward displays of dominance or control to prove its worth. Instead, it manifests in resilience, patience, and the ability to remain calm even in the face of chaos. Quiet power is the kind that doesn't need external validation. It's internal, it's self-sustained. At its core, true power is about mastery over oneself. It's about understanding your emotions, your strengths, and your limitations. When you have control over your reactions and decisions, you're not easily swayed by the opinions or actions of others. You don't react impulsively or out of fear. Instead, you take time to assess, think, and move with purpose. This is the kind of power that allows you to stay grounded even when the world around you is unstable. It's what gives you the ability to persevere in difficult situations without losing your sense of direction or self-worth. Quiet power isn't flashy or immediate. It's built over time through discipline, focus, and commitment to personal growth. In a world that often values instant gratification and constant noise, quiet power can easily be overlooked or misunderstood. But those who possess it know that the most lasting change, the deepest impact, comes from consistency and persistence. It's not about making grand gestures or being the loudest person in the room. It's about showing up every day, doing the work, and staying true to your values, even when no one else is watching. In contrast to the need for external validation, true power comes from within. It's not dependent on how others see you or what they think of you. You don't need to prove yourself to anyone because your sense of self-worth comes from your own understanding of who you are. This internal power gives you the freedom to operate independently of other people's opinions. It allows you to stay focused on your own goals without being distracted by the noise around you. When you are secure in yourself, you don't need to seek approval or recognition from others. You know your value, and that's enough. One of the defining characteristics of quiet power is patience. In a world that demands quick results, those with true power know that real success takes time. They are not in a rush to achieve their goals because they understand that the process is just as important as the outcome. Patience allows them to remain calm and composed even when things aren't going according to plan. It gives them the perspective to see setbacks as opportunities for growth rather than failures. With this mindset, they are able to make more thoughtful decisions and avoid the pitfalls of impulsiveness. Another key aspect of quiet power is resilience. Life is full of challenges and obstacles, and those with true power don't shy away from them. Instead, they face adversity head-on, knowing that every challenge is an opportunity to grow stronger. Resilience is what allows them to keep going when others give up. It's what gives them the strength to keep moving forward, even when the bold day seems uncertain or difficult. This quiet determination is often mistaken for passivity or weakness, but in reality, it's one of the most powerful traits a person can possess. It's the ability to endure hardship without losing sight of your goals or your sense of self. True power also comes from self-discipline. It's the ability to control your impulses and stay focused on what truly matters, even when distractions and temptations are all around you. Discipline allows you to make decisions based on logic and long-term goals rather than short-term emotions or desires. It's what keeps you on track when the path ahead is difficult or unclear. With discipline, you are able to maintain your focus and commitment to your goals, regardless of the obstacles you face. This quiet, steady discipline is often the key to long-term success and fulfillment. While quiet power may not be as visible or immediately recognized as loud, attention-seeking displays of strength, it is far more enduring. People who possess true power don't need to flaunt it because their actions speak for themselves. Over time, their consistency, patience, and resilience build a reputation that commands respect, even if they don't actively seek it. They may not be the most vocal or the most visible, but their impact is undeniable. The influence of quiet power extends far beyond the immediate moment because it's rooted in something deeper and more lasting than surface-level displays of dominance or control. True power is also about knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. There's a strength in silence that many people overlook. When you're not constantly seeking to fill the space with words, you give yourself the opportunity to listen, to observe, and to learn. Silence allows you to gather information, to process it, and to respond in a way that is thoughtful and intentional. This is where true power lies, not in dominating the conversation, but in knowing when to contribute and when to hold back. Silence can be a form of power because it shows that you are confident enough to not always need to be heard. You trust that your actions will speak louder than your words ever could. Moreover, true power is not about controlling others, but about leading by example. People are drawn to those who possess quiet power because they inspire trust and respect. Their actions, not their words, demonstrate their strength and integrity. They don't need to impose their will on others because they lead with authenticity and purpose. This form of leadership is far more effective than trying to force people to follow you through fear or intimidation. Quiet power attracts rather than demands, and it inspires others to rise to their own potential. In conclusion, true power is quiet, steady, and deeply rooted in self-awareness, discipline, and resilience. It doesn't need to shout or seek validation because it comes from within. It's built over time through consistent action, patience, and a deep understanding of oneself. While it may not be as immediately visible as louder, more aggressive forms of power, quiet power is far more enduring and impactful. It's the kind of power that doesn't just achieve success, but sustains it. It allows you to navigate life's challenges with grace and strength, knowing that your worth is not dependent on external validation, but on your own inner strength. Fear is often misunderstood. Many perceive it as a sign of weakness, something to be avoided or conquered. But when you look deeper, fear is often just respect in disguise. People fear what they can't control, what they can't fully understand, or what challenges their sense of comfort and certainty. Fear, in many cases, signals acknowledgement of strength, potential, but unfamiliar greatness that threatens the status quo. When you walk into a room and command attention without saying a word, the energy shifts. People feel your presence, and sometimes that presence invokes fear. But that fear is not because you've done something wrong, overstepped. It's because deep down they recognize that you bring something powerful to the table. You embody qualities that they respect, even if they can't articulate it. Like fear in this context is not about danger, but about respect for what you represent, strength, potential, and the ability to challenge the norms. This kind of fear is rooted in the unknown. When people see someone who is confident, self-assured, and unwilling to conform to the expectations or limitations imposed by others, it shakes them. It forces them to confront their own insecurities and limitations. It's easier to remain in a place of comfort where everything feels predictable and controllable. But when someone enters the picture who doesn't play by those same rules, it can be intimidating. People fear what they don't understand because it threatens their sense of safety. But underlying that fear is a form of respect, even if they don't consciously recognize it. Think about the leaders and visionaries who have made a significant impact on the world. Many of them were initially met with fear, resistance, or even hostility. Why? Because they represented change. They challenged conventional thinking and introduced ideas that made others uncomfortable. But that fear was a reflection of the respect those leaders commanded, whether or not it was acknowledged at the time. People may have feared them because they couldn't be easily controlled or dismissed, but over time, that fear often transformed into admiration and respect as their vision became clear. Fear also arises when people sense that someone has the potential to disrupt the balance of power. When you stand in your truth, confident in your abilities and purpose, those who are used to control and dominating others feel threatened. They fear losing their grip, their influence, and their sense of superiority. But again, that fear is rooted in respect. They recognize that you are not someone who can be easily swayed or manipulated. Your presence alone is a reminder that you have the strength and capability to chart your own path, and that is something they respect, even if they won't admit it openly. It's important to understand that fear and respect are often intertwined. When people fear you, it doesn't mean they despise or dislike you. In fact, it's often the opposite. They fear you because you have something they wish they had, whether it's confidence, talent, resilience, or the ability to stand alone without needing validation. They respect your independence, your unwillingness to bow to external pressures, and your ability to forge your own way. They might express this fear in different ways through criticism, avoidance, or even hostility, but at its core, it's a reflection of their recognition of your strength. This is why fear can be a powerful motivator and indicator of respect. When you sense that others fear you, it's often because you're stepping into your true potential. You're pushing boundaries, challenging assumptions, and forcing people to reconsider what they thought they knew. That's not an easy thing for most people to face. It makes them uncomfortable because it disrupts the world they've carefully constructed around their own limitations. But instead of backing down or shrinking yourself to make others comfortable, recognize that their fear is often a sign that you're on the right path. It's a signal that you're living in a way that commands respect, whether they acknowledge it or not. It's also crucial to note that fear, in the context of respect, doesn't mean you should strive to intimidate or make others uncomfortable. True power doesn't come from making people afraid of you, but from being so secure in your own abilities and presence that you don't need to seek approval or validation. When others fear you because they respect what you bring to the table, it's not about dominance. It's about the quiet confidence that comes from knowing your worth and refusing to compromise your values or goals to fit into someone else's expectations. In personal relationships, fear often manifests when someone sees that you're no longer dependent on their approval or validation. When you start to prioritize your own growth and well-being, some people might react with fear, feeling as though they're losing control over you. This fear is a sign that they recognize your strength and independence, and they respect, even if grudgingly, that you are no longer willing to play small for their comfort. Instead of letting that fear hold you back, use it as a reminder that you are stepping into a new level of personal power, self-power, and self-respect. In the professional world, fear often arises when you challenge the established order. When you bring new ideas, approaches, or ways of thinking, those who are comfortable with the old way of doing things might resist. They might fear that your innovation or creativity threatens their position or control. But that fear is also a form of respect. They recognize that you have the ability to make a difference, to push boundaries, and to introduce something that could potentially outshine their own contributions. This is where true leaders stand out. They don't back down in the face of fear or resistance. They recognize that fear, in this context, is an acknowledgement of their potential to create lasting change. Ultimately, fear is respect in disguise. It's about recognizing the power you hold within yourself. It's about understanding that when others react with fear, it's often because they see something in you that challenges their own sense of security or control. Instead of shrinking to fit their comfort zones, you must embrace your power and continue moving forward. Their fear is a reflection of the respect they have for your strength, even if they don't express it openly. So don't shy away from the fear you may encounter from others. Recognize it for what it is, a sign that you are commanding respect. Whether they admit it or not, keep standing in your truth, embracing your potential and pushing forward on your path. Fear and respect are two sides of the same coin. And when you lean into your power, you will find that what others fear is often what they respect most about you.